everybody, Zach again at newtutorial.com. Wanted to come in and do a video for you today. You know, there's this thing going around, this teaching or this idea going around that the nation of Israel is illegitimate. And, you know, I see it not really gaining steam, but I see the idea popping up every so often in my inbox. I see it in the comments every so often. And I even know a few people who teach this stuff. And it's completely insane. And I wanted to go through one of the arguments that they put out to tell you, it's actually the main argument that they give people to say why the nation of Israel is illegitimate. And why those people who call themselves Jews over there are not Judah. And so they say it's all a scam, it's all an illusion, that these people are not Israel, that nation over there is illegitimate, it was never meant to be there by God, and in fact it's a work of the devil. I know, strong words, but let me just stick with me here for a few minutes. And I want to show you the insanity of this logic that they're putting out there, of their logic. So anyway, they're going to tell you this whole idea that Israel is illegitimate, the nation of Israel that was founded and created in 1947, 1948, and has continued on since then, and has become, you know, really the Middle East powerhouse that it is illegitimate. And let me get that. I have said on my channel before, many times, that there is a lot of evil over there in that nation of Israel. They have abortion rates. They have government paid for abortion over there. They have one of the largest gay pride parades in the world today. It occurs every year in Tel Aviv, and I've talked about that on my channel. And so don't get me wrong, this nation is not perfect. In fact, they're as sinful as the United States is. And they are westernized. They have a lot of sin in that nation. However, there are a lot of God-fearing people over there. There are a lot of people over there who really have a desire and a zealousness for the words of Moses. And even so much so that, yeah, they continue to hold to a lot of the Judaism that adds to the Torah that the Father says not to do not add or take away. They have added additional instructions from the rabbis that really has no part in Torah, and a lot of it even contradicts the words of Moses. But with that in mind, I can show you real quick how that nation up here fits in the Bible, and how it's very legitimate. And the people who say it's illegitimate have no concept or have not read their Bible enough to see that this is them being put in 1948. The whole formation of that nation state is just a cycle being repeated in your scriptures. So let's go here. Basically, the first argument they give you is that the nation of Israel is illegitimate simply because it was created by the evil empire of the West, the British and America. The British Empire, the United Kingdom, and our pagan nation of America has set up that nation. If it wasn't for America and Great Britain, that nation would never have existed, which is completely insane. If you believe that, you have no concept of history. You have a skewed concept of history. The British government and American government fought tooth and nail to keep that nation from coming into play, to keep that nation from being formed. Why? Because the Arabs had the oil. Back in 1948, we knew who had the oil, and we wanted it. And we knew it was going to tick a lot of people off if we came out and supported and recognized the state of Israel. The reason we eventually, in fact, during the battles in 1948 and 47, we didn't help them at all. In fact, you can go back and find movies and documentaries that have been created on, since then, that show that the British government and United States government actually, in some ways, fought against the formation of the nation state of Israel. We fought tooth and nail. It was only because the people of those two countries pressured their parliament of Great Britain and pressured the Congress of the United States, the congressmen and the politicians, you will support Israel. And that's the only reason we did that. The State Department of the United States had wanted no part of that. The Parliament of Great Britain and a lot of the higher-ups in the monarchy and the Parliament up there had no support for Israel whatsoever, because we wanted the oil over there and we did not want to tick off the Arabs. And so, that whole thing is just crazy. If you go do your research, you'll find out that the United States government and Great Britain really did not want that to happen. And it was only after they won their independence through miraculous battles, of which we helped them. In fact, we tried to hurt them in some of those battles by taking away as many arms as we possibly could from the nation of Israel. They miraculously still won their independence in battles fought over there. And that was only by the hand of God. Now, they'll still say, well, still, we recognize the nation state of Israel, blah, 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 and then we've helped them ever since. And it's true. We have helped them. We have given them arms, and we've given them support. And that's only because, I will submit to you, because the people of this country and the people of Great Britain and other parts of the Western world have forced their politicians to do that. What's the number one job of a politician? Get reelected. If the people are knocking on your door and telling you to do something in overwhelming numbers, so much so that you may not get elected if you don't do what they tell you, you're going to do what they tell you. The number one job of a politician is to get reelected. They're going to do what you tell them to do if enough people come to them. And so that's what happened. Folks, does it make any sense? Does it make any sense that the nation state of Israel is illegitimate because a pagan nation of Great Britain and a pagan nation, who celebrates Christmas and Easter and all these, and Sunday worship and all these things, like Great Britain and the United States, helped Israel? Does that make the creation of the nation of Israel illegitimate? If that's the case, then why in the world would it be legitimate when Nehemiah sought the help of King Xerxes in Nehemiah chapter 2, and the King Xerxes overwhelmingly gave him lumber, he gave him military support when he came back to Judea, and when the enemies of the Amorites and the Arabians and the Ashdodites came against Nehemiah, he was armed because of the King Xerxes back in Persia, a pagan nation. Folks, a pagan nation helped and assisted Nehemiah when he came back to Judea to rebuild Jerusalem. Does that make Nehemiah's work illegitimate? Because the king of Persia, a pagan nation, gave him lumber and arms and soldiers. So why does it make this formation of Israel any less legitimate? Because we did the same thing, only after we pressured our leadership to do so. Anyone who makes that argument to you that the nation state is illegitimate because a pagan nation like Great Britain and America, helped Israel, and therefore it makes Israel illegitimate, that's crazy, because it was the same thing that happened in the book of Nehemiah. The book of Nehemiah, Persia, a pagan nation who worshiped false gods, helped Nehemiah, gave him resources and military support to help rebuild Jerusalem. Let's go read the verse. And may I have a letter to Asaph, keeper of the royal park, so he will give me timber to make beams for the gates of the citadel by the temple, and for the city wall, and for the residence I will occupy? And because the gracious hand of my God was on me, the king granted my request. And so, in verse 9, so I went to the governors of Trans-Euphrates and gave them the king's letters. The king had also sent army officers and cavalry with me. It's pretty clear that the king's, kind of going above and beyond to help him rebuild Jerusalem. So was the rebuilding of Jerusalem illegitimate because a pagan, godless nation helped rebuild Jerusalem? I seriously doubt you want to make that case. Folks, here's why Jerusalem, and here's why the nation state of Israel is legitimate. It goes back to Genesis 49. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and until him shall the gathering, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Folks, there's these guys, they're called the Black Hebrew Israelites, and they have this guy named Dal and a couple other weirdos out there who are basically telling folks that, the nation state of Israel is illegitimate. Let me ask you guys, 50 years ago, or let's just say, how old are you? Some of these old guys, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, did you ever hear the word Torah before? Were you teaching Torah? Were your parents teaching Torah? Were your grandparents teaching Torah? No, they weren't. You had no idea what Torah was 20, 30 years ago. Some of you guys who are older, you didn't know what that was. And because you're black, you say, oh, we're Black Hebrew Israelites because our skin color. Folks, real Israel will be full of blacks, whites, reds, and yellows. All throughout, and the nation state of Israel over there is full of that. They have people who are coming with all colors, all creeds, all nationalities from all four corners of the earth, and they are Israel. They are Judah. And it says Judah, the scepter will not depart from Judah. Meaning the kingship line will always be with Judah, and for the kingship line to always be with Judah, Judah cannot forget who he was. The southern kingdom, the house of Judah, will not forget who they are, and they didn't. And that's evident because they have always had the Torah. Who throughout history, who throughout these last millennia has always had the Torah? It's been those people who call themselves Jews. And yeah, they've added a lot of stuff to it. They have broken the commandment to not add or take away. Nobody's perfect. They've added additional commandments to it. But they did so trying to protect what was theirs to always have. It was that Torah. And they were a little overzealous in doing so. And our Messiah continually railed on them for doing that. However, they are still my brother Judah. And they still have the Torah. They haven't forgotten who they are. The scepter will never depart. And so those guys out there who are, crazy and who are railing against that nation state of Israel have no idea, have no concept of what illegitimate means, have no idea how the Father has in the past used pagan, godless nations to raise up Jerusalem. And, and will again, and did again. That's what we see. We see our nation here, this pagan nation who was, full of iniquity, being used to bring God's people back, to bring our brother Judah back. And I've said before in my videos, the main reason I believe that Israel has been allowed to prosper and that Judah has been given a pedestal again over in that great city, Jerusalem, is because one reason only, to tell the world that the Torah is still valid. You better start paying attention to it. You better start. Now, my brother Judah is not perfect, but it will be his. The lawgiver shall not depart between his feet. Judah is our older brother. He holds the Torah. That's his possession. That's his right, according to Genesis 49, as the firstborn. That's his right. He's going to have it forever. Until Shiloh comes, it says. Until rest comes. And that rest comes with our Messiah. So these people out there who would tell you that Israel is illegitimate, hogwash. Hog, oink, oink, hogwash. It's garbage. It's an abomination. It's heresy. And it's against Scripture. All right, we'll leave it at that. Go home, read your Bible. Thanks.